Congressman Roemer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that I really respect the difficult job that the three of you have in front of you. We have, in our past, 50 or 60 years ago, had an enemy that was trying to take over all of Europe, and we knew how to go after that enemy. We had an enemy in Vietnam that used guerrilla tactics, and we had difficulties there. And now we have an enemy that tries to train on our own soil, tries to infiltrate our own schools, and tries to kill hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans. And we count on you three to help protect the security of this country. Now, while there are people maybe on this committee that think that the three of you may be to blame for many things, lots of things, everything, and there may be some people on this committee that think that you performed flawlessly before 9/11. I come down on the side of, I believe mistakes were made. I believe there were failures. I believe that there were inadequate communications between agencies, that we didn't have enough linguists and analysts, that we didn't have a good enough watch list system, that we could have had newer technologies in different parts of our country in our field offices. But I am for moving forward and trying to make sure, in light of what happened in Kuwait, what happened in Yemen, what happened in Bali, what happened in the Philippines today, killing 6 people, injuring 144 people, that it doesn't happen in this country again, and that we move forward and try to correct those mistakes. And I think the three of you are the three people to help lead us there and get us there. I have confidence in the three of you. I also think that this joint inquiry has done a magnificent job, Mr. Chairman. I'm proud to serve on it with the ranking members. And we have worked to uncover facts, to try to make recommendations, to solve some of the problems and fix some of the mistakes, while not just saying this is a witch hunt and a blame game. Now we have, in a bipartisan way, come forward and said, we need a joint commission. You folks are busy. You don't have a lot of time to look back, but we do need to correct the mistakes. We're about ready to go out of business with this Congress ending. We've got thousands of pages of documents that we still have to go through. We have some major institutional recommendations that we might need. We need an independent commission to finish the work. And we have agreed to do that in the House, in the Senate, in conference, and the White House keeps moving the goalposts on us. We solve one problem and they change the goalpost and say, well, here's another one. I would hope the White House would come forward and work with us. They've negotiated with us, but genuinely work with us to create this independent commission and help us, help you three, help the very good people that work for you, that dedicate their service and their lives to protecting Americans, to getting this right in the future. I have just 3 basic questions, one for each one of you. General Hayden, you said in your testimony that you don't need to be reminded about linguists. I think you do, all due respect. In your 2002 fiscal year request, you asked for significantly less civilian analysts and linguists. I know you are a level 3 expert. You speak Bulgarian. We vitally need these linguists doing their jobs and these analysts doing their jobs, strategic analysts and tactical analysts. I'd like to know why, just in the latest 2002 budget, you haven't requested more than the previous year. Let me get all 3 questions in. I've learned that on this committee, that you got to get your questions in. Director Tenet, I just ask you very quickly about sharing information. You mentioned in your testimony that you are acquiring some very significant information for us in Afghanistan at safe houses and other places. We hear some grumbling that that information is not being shared with other intelligence agencies, not only quickly enough, but at all. And I'd like to get your thoughts, in fairness, Is that a legitimate complaint? How are you sharing that? And lastly, Director Mueller, I would ask you, do we have in place now, a year and a month after September 11th, the necessary computer networks to compile counterterrorist information in common databases between our district offices and the FBI across the country and with headquarters, and how do you disseminate that information? General Hayden?
I'll go first. Yes, sir. The reason we don't need to be reminded is I think we get it. We agree with it totally. We need more linguists and analysts. We hired 120 in fiscal year 02. We've hired 11 so far in the first 16 days of fiscal year 03. We've got another 101 in the pipeline to whom we've already offered conditional employment. So we got it. We're working hard on it. I take your point.
We've just sent a piece of paper to the committee, Mr. Roemer, about this so-called DocX issue, where I've basically written a document that NSA, DIA, the whole community signed up to basically have a common repository. We will build a national center that we fund to basically train the right people, and we have put in place procedures that make it clear what's in and what's out, with the expectation that whatever limited information is kept out for real operational reasons will be stripped and moved as fast as possible. I know Mr. Burr has been briefed, and we'd be happy to come brief you as well.
Thank you.
As to the question of whether the FBI has the technology in place now to share all common databases around the country, the answer is no. I will tell you what we have done, however. We have, and are redoing our technology. One of the key aspects of that is to migrate the data from what we call ACS into a new Oracle 9i database and put on it a user interface that completely changes the way we have done things in the past. And the target date for that is December of 03. In the meantime, however, because of the necessity to pull together data relating to terrorism, we have pulled in at least 3 data streams into a database. One of those streams are all of those approximately 23 million pages of images that relate to terrorism throughout the FBI. The second part, the second data stream, will be any of our electronic documents from ACS from 1993 on that relate to terrorism will go into that database. And the third stream is the cable traffic from the intelligence community, that both internal and from the intelligence community. And actually the fourth data stream is the information that we picked up from Afghanistan. All of those data streams will be in a common database within the next 30 to 40 days. That database will have the capability, we will have with that database structure the capability of utilizing the search tools that we have not had the capability to use before. The other aspect of that is we have not had a capability, we have not had a LAN, a local area network within the Bureau that is at the top secret SCI level. We have put in that, are in the process of putting in that LAN so that our analysts can have that access to that database on the one hand and have new information that comes in pushed to them according to certain profiles in a way that occurs in the CIA. So even though across the FBI we will not be where we would want to be in the next 30 or 40 or 50 days, within the counterterrorism sphere, we have made strides.
Thank you for the extra time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.